What is up, guys? In today's video I'm going to be going over how you can improve in Fortnite even if you do not have the most playtime in the game. I've had this asked to me a few times on stream, and this is definitely an interesting topic because not everybody has 4 to 6 hours a day or more to dedicate to the game, and it is definitely still possible to improve with less playtime if you use your time efficiently. So that's what we're going to be going over in this video. And if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. Comment down below what you are most excited to see in Season 3, whether it's new weapons, the Battle Pass, new vehicles, map changes. What aspect of the game are you most excited to see change in Season 3? And if you would like to use me for a supporter creator, my code is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is. And if you would use that when getting the new Battle Pass, that would be much appreciated. So the first thing we're going to talk about in this video is going to be that you should probably play aggressive if you want to get better at the game. And that is what this video is going to be about, all about how to get better at the game with less playtime. So if you don't care about getting better, this probably isn't the video for you. But BRs, or Battle Royales, are kind of in a weird spot where a lot of people who are new to them, they get on and they just want to win. So they end up playing really passively because the thought process is, if I make it to endgame, I can maybe third party the last fight or get lucky timing on the last guy, and then we can end up getting a win. And that definitely can happen. However, this kind of like shapes people's entire playstyle, and they end up playing passive forever, and it becomes very difficult to actually improve if you are playing incredibly passive. You might get some cheesy wins that way. It might be faster for you to get your first win that way, but Fortnite games are about 20 minutes on average, let's just say. Some are more, some are less, but roughly 20 minutes or so, right? And if you go the entire game hiding and avoiding conflict, and then you fight the last person and end up dying to them, you spent 20 minutes to get one engagement, right? Where if you hot drop or land somewhere where there's a lot of people, you might get 4 or 5 engagements in the first like 2 minutes of the game, you know? And from there, if you play more aggressive and rotate to a spot where you can maybe fight more people, you might get several more engagements over the course of that 20-minute game. And sure, there's definitely going to be times where you die because you push too far, or you get third-partied, or you get caught off. There's so many reasons why you can die. And fighting people is probably going to lead to you dying more frequently. However, getting in these fights and getting these reps in a less time span is going to improve your rate of improvement so much, because you're going to be much more experienced fighting, and in the long run this is going to result in you being better than the player who just ends up hiding all day, and that will result in you getting more wins. Like I already said, you can cheese some wins playing passive. It definitely can work, but it's really only going to work if you get lucky timing on the last player, or if the last player is also not very good at the game. If you force fights and get comfortable fighting, this is going to benefit you so much more in the long run, and you are going to actually get better at the game and learn to win more consistently in the long run. Like, it's almost like the player who plays really passive might get more wins early on, but the player who plays aggressive and learns how to actually fight and learns to like get comfortable playing the game will eventually overtake that passive player in wins. There are some cases where people get a lot of wins who play passive all the time, but they're usually good players doing that as well. Like, they already got good and then they play passive to like maximize wins. But if you're a new player and you don't have any sort of like skills or like game sense in the game, just getting in fights, getting the reps in is going to be the biggest thing. Another thing that kind of comes into play with this is I feel like a lot of newer players get nervous in fights, and they get really nervous in game, which makes sense, you know. The whole point of the Battle Royale is to win. So once you make it to that last fight, it can be really stressful. And if all you do is hide and you don't have a lot of experience fighting players, odds are you're going to be incredibly nervous and you're going to mess up in game. Whereas at least if you get comfortable fighting, that aspect of it will go away and you will be confident in your fighting. So I think it is best to force fights. There's a mix, you know. You don't need to W key and play super aggressive and hot drop every single game. You can mix it up, but you just want to avoid only playing passive. You know what I mean? If all you do is hide all game every day, and you might get like 10 games in a 2-hour span and you get second in all of them, and you got like, what, 10 fights in all of those games, it's really not that good as far as practice goes, and you're not going to actually improve doing so, even though you might get some cheesy wins in the short term. Getting comfortable fighting and getting actually good at the game is the most important thing, I think, if you do want to win more in the long run. So stop playing passive, stop hiding all game, force some fights, be okay failing. Once you're okay failing and you're okay losing, that nervousness and that like anxiety around in-game and around fights, I feel like completely goes away. The next thing is going to be to use creative, and this is another thing that kind of a hot topic in the Fortnite community sometimes. I feel like a lot of people who don't want to improve make the assumption or the assertion that I don't have 6 hours a day to spend in creative, so that's why I'm not good at the game. Like, they make that excuse And like they kind of build the I don't have 6 hours to spend a day in creative into it because they don't want to improve and they don't want it to be their fault, because who has 6 hours to spend in creative a day, you know? I play this game all the time and make videos on this game. I don't even play 6 hours a day. So they make that unreasonable claim as if you need to spend a minimum of 6 hours a day in creative to improve or see any improvement, so that it's not their fault. But in reality, I feel like creative is the biggest tool you have to improve, because like we were talking about before, you have 20 minutes in a match roughly, and you're only going to get so many engagements in that amount of time. So the amount of engagements or the amount of actual practice you can be getting to time ratio in pubs is not very good. But in creative, that's completely different. Creative is perfect for practicing, and the amount of practice you can get relative to time is like very much skewed in your favor. And that is why the release of creative is what, like, one of the things that really propelled the skill gap in this game, because everybody got way better, way faster in creative. And whether you play zero build or normals, you can definitely use creative to your advantage. And you do not have to spend every waking minute in creative. I think that's actually bad. There's definitely diminishing returns for that. And I think what is really beneficial is if you spend small amount of time consistently in creative, whatever you can do. If you can spend 30 minutes a day warming up in creative and practicing editing, practicing building, practicing shotgun shots, practicing aiming, whatever you want to do, I will have maps in the description down below that I like to use and some gameplay of it on screen. But if you can spend small amounts of time a day, like 30 minutes, like I said, that's what I typically do for my warm-up, is around 30 minutes, practicing editing, building, and shotgun shots every day. But if you could do that every day, in the long run, that is going to be much better than someone who spends 6 hours in one session and then never touches creative again. Like, it's like working out or going to the gym. Do you do one ridiculously long session one time and expect to get jacked? Or do you regularly go to the gym a few times a week and see improvement over time? It's the second option, obviously, and that's exactly how improving in Fortnite is. So if you have a lot of time to spend every day in creative, or just, if you play Fortnite a lot, dedicate a little bit of that time, I think, when you first get on. That way you can be warmed up and not only get that daily practice in every day, you get warmed up for your matches, and then you're more likely to get more out of every single match than if you get on not warmed up, and then it takes you maybe an hour of your gameplay to even get comfortable with the game, and then you have another hour left where you can actually play the game. I think using creative as a daily warm-up is the ultimate tool in not only getting warmed up and getting the most out of your matches, but also seeing improvement as a player. I played this game since the day it came out, and I didn't really start to see lots of improvement in my gameplay until I started playing creative every day to warm up. So I think that's the biggest thing. And whether it's 30 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, whatever you want to do for your warm-up, whatever you're comfortable doing, whatever you're like comfortable dedicating the time to, just some amount of time, even 5 minutes, like I said, can make a large impact on your gameplay. So make sure you're using creative. I cannot recommend it enough. And like I already said, so many people just completely disregard doing this because the notion is, oh, I don't have 6 hours a day to spend in creative, and that's fine. Spend 5 minutes a day and you will see improvement over time. Spend 10 minutes a day, you will see improvement over time. Spend 20, 30, whatever, however much time you can spend at the start of your play session, you will get better. And this is like the single most important tool that comes into play improving in Fortnite. It doesn't really help with decision making or game sense or like maybe rotations, but just the mechanical skill of aiming, fighting, building, editing, all of those things can be practiced and fine-tuned in creative, and that is going to help you get so much better over time. The final thing is, in my opinion, is just going to be coming down to watching content, and odds are if you're watching this video, you already do this, but if you watch streams, if you watch YouTube videos, even TikTok, it allows you to get so much more information from people who play the game more than you without having to spend that amount of time playing the game. Like, I might play the game 5 hours until I learn something about the game, and then I can share that with you, and you can learn it in like 30 seconds or 10 minutes, however long the video takes, you know? So I think watching content is a really nice way to improve in the game, even when you're not able to spend time playing the game. If you can watch streams or YouTube videos in the background while you're doing other things, you will like kind of passively learn about the game and get smarter about the game. Like I said, if you're watching this video, you probably already do this, but I can't count how many times I've learned random things from streams or even from TikTok, and I've played the game for hundreds or like thousands of hours. So watching content is good regardless of how good or bad you are at the game. There's definitely things that you could pick up from watching other people play or just seeing how they approach fights or what their mentality is when approaching fights. And if you do have the time, or you maybe like feel like there was a crucial decision you made in a game that was wrong, or like that really had an impact on the game, you can watch your own replays in replay mode. This is typically not going to be something that most players do, and even myself, I don't really VOD review anything, but I kind of passively do this when editing videos, you know? And there's definitely things I pick up on my gameplay while I'm editing videos, or like mistakes I see myself making consistently that I'm able to refine and get better over time. So if you do have time to watch your own gameplay back and see some of the mistakes you made that led to you dying, that can also increase your rate of improvement so much rather than just like getting the reps in consistently. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Like I said, if you want to get better at the game with less playtime, it really just comes down to using your time efficiently. The best source for that is going to be creative and actually getting in fights when you play in game. Those are two things that a lot of newer players or a lot of like lesser experienced players tend to avoid because they just want to get on the game and try to get wins. But that initial desire to try to just get wins ends up holding them back in the long run. So I hope you guys found this video helpful, informative. If you did, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. Comment down below what you were excited to see in Season 3, and if you would like to use me for support a creator when buying the Season 3 Battle Pass, I would much appreciate it. My code is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is.